Ducks. I'm Bermuda.
And I'm Phil.
And we're about to play Dark Heresy after several weeks without playing.
You know how it is, that's how life goes sometimes. And thank you very much. Over to you, Warren.
Okay, so where we left off, in the past few weeks was, well, they all got massacred, so new characters. And we will begin aboard the inquisitorial ship, the Light of Alantaris, which is en route to the Ichabara system from the what's it called? Viridan's Pass. It's another sector of the Nixonad sector. You've been sent here by Silence Beckons again under the command of one interrogator, Tyrus, to basically clean up the mess or, bring inquisitorial reinforcements to the planet because things are escalating in various different scenarios, and it's starting to look grim if the Inquisition doesn't apprehend or at least gain some information about the various factions doing diabolical things on the planet. The last group was wiped out to a person, except for Savonne, who has now taken on the acronym FLOW because, according to the Inquisition, her past no longer exists, so she has to adopt a new alias, so she took FLOW. As for the rest of the group, you are a Acolyte cadre that has been together for quite some time. You performed various services for Silence Beckons under the direction of your immediate superior, Interrogator Tyrus, for several years now. This is just another job in a rung of other jobs, but your entire lives since joining the Inquisition have just been darkened rooms, the constant learning of encodings, runic chapters, and decoding of chapters, endless lore and knowledge, learnings about things you didn't even know existed beforehand, the dangers of the warp, a great many other things. By the way, do you all have the Cypher Gloria thing that the other group
no.
did? Yeah, you should all take that, because you all have it, yeah. So just, note that down under advanced skills, and you all have the train, and that's based on intelligence, so... Because everybody in your particular cadre under Silence Beckons knows how to speak that tongue.
Yay.
Okay, so we'll start. Okay, so after several months of transition through the Immaterium, you guys were redirected away from a very promising case on the world of... Let me see, what was the name of the world you're at? The world of Felus. It was a feral world where you were pursuing some feral chaotic cultists. The mission ended when the interrogator was satisfied that you killed the tribal chief of a particular chaos-inclined feral tribe of humans on the world that were raiding the various imperial holdings throughout the area. After your successful mission, you were rewarded with some leave and some stay on board the ship, where basically you were on downtime. But that was cut short about a week into your downtime, and you're on, whatever you do with your lives in between, your studies, your prayers, your training, whatever. And your time off was basically interrupted as the ship was immediately commanded by its superior, it's under the command of Interrogator Tyrus, and he ordered the ship to make immediate passage to Ichabara after you received a astropathic message through the warp from your overall Supreme Master, Silence Beckons, ordering you to the Ichabara system. That was roughly 5 months ago, around the exact same time your other characters died and the whole mess of this thing began. And you've spent the last 5 months transitioning from Felus to Ichabara. Roughly 2 hours ago, your ship, it's actually a grid here. Your ship, the Light of Alantaris, exited from the Immaterium at the outskirts of the Ichabara system and joined the throng of thousands of void ships as they entered into orbit in the various massive stations that orbit Ichabara. Quite soon after, as your ship was traveling, the day or so it takes to actually reach orbit around Ichabor, Interrogator Tyrus has summoned all of you to his inner sanctum, which is this area you've just arrived at now. When you open the door and enter, let in by the various guardsmen who guard the doorway at all times, they have the look of stormtroopers from the Schola Praegidium, and most likely very much are. They are Inquisitor Tyrus's personal bodyguards, and they never seem to leave his side. But they know you by, completely, by just glance now. So they've stopped bothering to even ask you for identification. Right, so you guys are allowed in without much fuss, as you were expected. And as you enter the room, you find Interrogator Tyrus, a unknown woman sitting on her side, looking quite flustered and more or less dejected at having to be here at all. She has the look of a street scum about her, to say the least, and you've fought and killed many of her kind in your time on various hive worlds, and you're wondering why exactly she's here. To the left is the ever-faithful Adept Almala. She is Tyrus's personal seneschal, and she generally coordinates the logistics of his various kill teams and other cabals that operate on the ship. Right, so as you enter the room, they are all talking amongst themselves, except Flo, who's just more or less quiet and only answers brief questions whenever she's asked. There's a display of what appears to be parchment reports, various details, tomes, and other things on, out on the table in front of you. And they all grow quiet as you enter the room. And Tyrus just looks up at you and does a, come to me with his hand sort of motion and says nothing.
Let's move up. Yeah.
Okay. So as you all walk up, Tyrus looks you over for a moment and says, Greetings, Acolytes. I'm sorry to have disturbed your downtime after your successful mission on Fellas, but things have come to a head on the capital world of Ixionad, Ichabor, and we are needed there, as per the orders of our ultimate master, Silence Beckons. I'm afraid the situation is quite dire. Let me just give me a sec. Heads up for this. There we go. Alright, so this holodeck display pops up in the center of the room, and you can all see it, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. It comes out of the eyes of the large brass eagle behind him, which is a very cleverly hidden holodeck display, and it displays on top of the table. This is Ichabor Primaris, the capital of the Ixionad sector. The point of contention is this one in particular, and a red marker appears on the screen indicating a point in the main hive of Ichabor, which is... what was it called again? I completely forget what the name of it was. Oh, Tormanus Primaris. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So it just indicates a point on Tormanus Primaris, which is the main hive of Ichabor, and it seems to be in the upper hive area that he's indicating, and it seems to be some sort of citadel fortress. And he indicates this is our current issue and the problem. You have been tasked to retrieve 4 persons of interest for the Inquisition. They're currently being held by an arbitrator squad in a high security stasis chamber. We need them to be retrieved, and we cannot wait for the bureaucracy of the Imperium to answer our jurisdiction in this case. The arbiters have been quite uncooperative with aiding us in this task, and we have no choice but to take these men by force in order to gain the information we need. He then plays back the recording you guys saw several weeks ago of the strange figure, and you go through all that blah 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 details again. Another Acolyte Cabal was sent, several Acolyte Cabals were sent in coordination to infiltrate Trade House Colony of the Upper Hive to gain information about this individual. who has been deemed of tantamount importance to the Ordo, that his retrieval and questioning is, done. However, thus far we've been able to apprehend the man or learn much of any information about him, which in and of itself is a grim determination. If the Inquisition cannot find this man, then he is very well hidden indeed. The only four that we know have any such information about this man are the four currently being held in the tubes. We do not know their identities. All we know is that they are large tetrarchs of the trade house, and they are liable to all its dirty little secrets. So if anyone is to know anything about this man and his dealings, and they very much do, they have to be retrieved. And with that, the holodeck display ends. And it pipes off screen. And he says, we've prepared a Imperial lighter marked with Arbitas symbols for your descent into the hive. It will land on top of the docking bay, given spoofed clearings, and you're going under the assumptions of an inspection. However, this is unscheduled and has been done at the very last minute. So any sort of scrutiny on part of a inquiring head of the arbitrators will more or less reveal this to be a fraud. So you probably have precious few minutes since your arrival there to gather whatever information is necessary from the Arbite staff or the guards to try and locate the individuals you are looking for before they realize you are not who you claim to be. Is there any questions?
If it comes to fighting, our is casualties acceptable, I guess?
He just looks at you and says, as always, Zarkov, casualties are acceptable in the name of the Emperor.
Yeah.
However, try and keep your identity and purpose concealed as long as possible to gain as much information as you can. But if it comes to it, do not hesitate to take your quarries by force, but they must be retrieved.
Click the safety onto my gun onto safe.
Now he just stops for a moment and says, this will be another addition to your cabal henceforth. You may call her Flo. She has first-hand experience with the situation on Ikabar and is quite well informed about this man we are hunting. She was part of a previous cabal who met with ill circumstances, to say the least. One of only two survivors of the assault. The other is now a raving lunatic. One Kuron, I believe his name was, an ex-adeptus of Mars, much like you, Ketchum, and he looks to you. However, his mind is quite broken and he was of very little use. Good Flo here, on the other hand, has been quite forthcoming with a little bit of prompting in order to aid you, and she has been requested back into service again. You will find she's quite well trained in various arts many of you are lacking in, so to say, or do not have the refinement or etiquette for in the lower hives, so she will be of some use, to say the least. You were to treat her as you would treat any of your other brothers or sisters. Is this understood?
She will be welcomed into our ranks, I'm sure.
I know.
Yeah, and it's quite obvious she's a mutant, so there you go. Alright, so he says, for the purpose of this mission, the armory has been open to you under the normal circumstances. Please request and require any gear you need to complete this objective. I'm quite sure that Armsmaster Tybolt will... I think his name is Tybolt. Let me see. Armsmaster Hazolt, sorry, will be more than willing to, equip you with anything your need should desire. And Almala will, of course, escort you and give you any details you require. Now hurry, this mission is of tantamount importance. We arrive in orbit, our high orbit around Ikabar in less than 30 minutes. Please be ready to depart immediately. Okay, so Almala gets up and just, takes her clipboard, and various servo skulls follow behind her, and she says, "Follow me, please, Acolytes." And she starts walking. Okay. And Tyrus gets back to looking at reports. Right? So you guys end up here. She leads you through a lot of winding halls of the rather large strike cruiser and takes you to one of the main armories on the same floor that you were currently on. As you enter, various Imperial Navy crewmen, Arms Master Hasselt, which has supplied you for several years now and tended to your weaponry and things like that, is currently shouting at a great deal number of them to get things prepared for your mission. Servitors scurry around the place, performing arming oaths and rites of battle on various parts of the equipment, and Almala simply enters the room and marches up to Hasselt, who turns around with a bit of a stern glare and a look of despair as he approaches and says, "Again, Almala, they need more. The last time they returned, their equipment was in dire straits. Phallus was a fetid hellhole of muck and destruction, and most of their gear is rotted through with rust from the water of that world. And we're sending them out again with more of our precious inventory." Then Almala just sort of looks at him and says, "It's the orders of the interrogator. It must be done." He just sort of nods and says, "Yes, yes, whatever to it. What do you require?" So, what do you guys want? Just what you laid out, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. I present a carapace and cameline cloak inventory.
Okay. Anyone want anything in particular that they haven't got already?
A slice of pie?
There's no pie, fortunately. So you're all okay with everything you got, yeah?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So after a few brief minutes of equipping, opening the various armory chests, and getting the various, rights applied to your armor, you are prepared. And Almala escorts you outside of the armory and takes you to the hangar. She informs you that you will be departing from hangar A203 at the bottom of the cruiser. It is a lighter bay, and you guys are escorted there. So, as you enter, various tech adepts monitor the hangar bay and its controls. You can definitely tell you've entered a hollowed area of the Mechanicus, as all technological departments are essentially under their control and are marked by their sigil. Almala leads you in and turns around briefly, saying, "We will enter high orbit within 10 minutes. If there's anything else you need to prepare or decide beforehand, now would be the time to do it. I must go and speak with the tech adepts to ensure that your descent and your files are in order to meet the arbiters. Give me but a moment." And she walks off to the tech adepts and begins talking to them. So, anything else, last minute things you guys want to talk about, like strategy or anything? Because this is technically an infiltrate mission, so...
Yeah. We should try and keep as low profile as possible, I believe.
I could influence the guards' minds to really think that we are a part of a inspection crew.
It could be a plan. We should see what we have to deal with when we get there. I turn to Gabriel. Boone, in case you have any problems with your weapons, I have brought some sacred unguents.
Like the way you preemptively think he's fucked. That's great.
Yeah, we'll probably jam. Yes, no.
I can do a knock against your gun if also needs be.
So you guys don't ask Flo anything about her past or the situation?
Oh.
This is where you are, B.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like my character doesn't give a shit.
Pretty sure he does.
Okay, I guess I ask like what caused the destruction of your previous cadre?
I'm not at liberty to say.
I cast suggestion on Flo.
Oh god. Hello, boom, I'm in your mind.
Yeah. Oh shit. Oh. That works. Oh, it's a post willpower test as well.
Yeah, so he can do a suggestion on you then, yes.
Yeah, on. the thing will be to be forthcoming with information towards us, I guess.
Yeah,
No,
so
I-
you, yes, so Flo, you have to be a bit more forthcoming with your information. You don't have to tell them about the demon host, but you can give them a little rundown of what happened to your team and things like that, or what you know about the strange figure and your dealings with what's his name, Malagust and Gordon.
Well, his question was what caused the destruction of the team. It was a demon host that destroyed the team.
Yeah, you could just say some horrible entity possessed your psyker and destroyed you or something.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm gonna fucking get killed if I tell you.
You might even not know what it was.
Yeah, it's very
Basically,
likely
it
you
was
didn't even really know what happened. As far as you knew, Leffy just went like psycho.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Flo. Psychers, they have a tendency to have things going strangely around them. It is something I've learned being around Mordecai.
Well, okay, Flo tells you that the Psyker went berserk. Everyone died in various horrible ways.
So, why are you here?
Why am I here?
If everyone died. Did you flee?
I didn't die.
How did you survive then?
Luck, that's how.
Hmm.
Well, having more luck in this team, it can probably help.
I wish I died.
Wow. Okay, so nothing else you guys want to discuss? Okay, so after a few minutes, the adept comes back, and, well, who's in charge, I guess? Is anyone in charge? Or are you guys just comfortable being like a democracy?
Probably the Battle Sister or something, or like
The cleric.
the Cleric.
Yeah. So, yeah, I suppose it should be me or the battle sister.
Okay, well, she hands Victus a data slate, and briefly drumming over it, you can tell that it contains fairly good forged information about an inspection by a higher order of the Arbitas to look in, well, sorry, by the government of Ikabar to look into the facilities and things like that. Basically, it looks like your administratum adepts being sent to look over the building and do some brief inquiries about things. It's clear it was unscheduled because you literally, did this at the last minute, and these things are generally scheduled, hundreds of years in advance. I'm not even joking about that. So the fact that it's only appeared now, even though you could have scheduled it 6 months ago, looks very strange because the Adeptus schedules these things hundreds of years in advance. So it's going to look kind of, as he said, it's going to look kind of shady, to say the least. Everything you have there looks official. It's a master-crafted forgery, to say the least. Like, drumming over it, all your inspection details look correct. All of your names are laid out. Victus's, head as put as the head of this investigation team to look into the facilities and everything like that. However, how long it will last is hard to say. Give me a sec. What's the name of the guy you're going to see? Give me a sec. The name of the man who manages the facility you're going to is called Chastaneer Victor Corbella. Yeah, Victor Corbella. So he's listed as the man you are going to have to do your inspection on. You just need to be careful around him because he's a Chastaneer, so he's basically, he's essentially like a high detective, basically. So he's very good. He's very good at sussing out bullshit. Okay. So she hands you all the details. Everything looks in order, and she says, "Well, this will be where I leave you, acolytes. As always, good luck, and the Emperor protects." Then she heads off, and you guys head into the hangar bay. Okay, so the lighter is prepared for you. a bunch of refueling cranes and docking cranes being manned by several hundred servitors and serfs on the other side. They're moving the cranes on the lighter bay into position. It comes down to the docking bay, well, the hatch essentially, and the docking bay opens, and you guys are able to get inside. So, feel free to get in then.
Do we have a pilot?
Yeah, there's a pilot already inside.
I could fly it, kind of, maybe, poorly.
So this lighter is an Arvis pattern lighter. It has room for 20 people inside of it. So it's basically like a cargo transporter, among other things. And they're all along the walls here. So that's the seats. So you guys get inside, and the area, well, the docking ramp closes up behind you, and you can feel the ship and the hangar outside it begin to depressurize as it gets ready for void transition. You spend a few moments sitting down and getting ready. Yet again, this is a few moments to discuss maybe more in depth what you want to do besides just go hi. You know, how you're going to plan this, maybe. Because like I'm trying to get this over with you guys. This guy's a Chastner. He's very good at scrutiny and inquiry, okay? So if you fail lies, like, the more elaborate, like, a ruse you come up with, the more bonuses I'll give you to bullshit him. The worse you do it RP-wise, the easier he's going to see it's bullshit, okay?
Okay.
So, try and think of a good scheme about what you're going to say.
Yeah,
So
first of all, we should try to cover the mutation marks of flow. Because I don't believe inspection team would have a mutant in their midst.
Flow's already pretty good at covering up her mutation, so...
No, okay. Yeah, the rest should be sieve at maximum. I don't know what's planned.
Well, we've been given the order that we're to come and inspect.
Yes.
Do we know much about this planet that we're going to, or this was the original planet we were on?
Yeah, you were on Ichabod before. It's the same informatus that I gave you before, this big thing here. So you know a great deal about it, because you were studying it on, like, the 6 months you were traveling to here through the warp, so...
And the building that we're going to is what again, sorry?
It is a holding facility. It's a maximum security holding stasis facility. Basically, they put people in stasis pods and basically imprison them in them until the time as they send them to trial. Which could, in fact, because the Imperium is so slow and laborious with its inquisitions, or, well, it's like investigations, sometimes people can literally end up inside these stasis cells for, like, decades or centuries until someone gets around to looking at their trial case.
I don't know how the rest of you feel about this, but we have... We don't have an Arbitas. No, we
no longer have an Arbitas.
We no longer have an Arbitas. We do have someone that looks like they could potentially be a prisoner. I gesture to Flo.
It's going good for Flo already.
I can play the part.
Well, you're scum, to be honest. You look like you've come from the dregs of a hive world.
You are correct.
We could say that... I know we are coming to inspect, but we could also be transporting a prisoner at the same time.
Well, that's not what your documents say, so...
Okay.
It doesn't really corroborate what you're doing. So, I mean, you are coming in for an investigation, so, I mean, run with that, but, like, think about what you're going to say exactly, okay? Alright, so while you're doing that, after a few moments, the lighter is prepared, everything is decompressed, the cranes, one by one, start to retract. And then finally, the docking thing opens. And the void is below you, and the ship sets off. And you start trundling headlong down into the upper atmosphere of Ichabod, skating toward Hive Tormanus Primaris, and the large bastion of the Arbitas that looms in front of you. So, yet again, it looks like this as you guys travel through it. And as usual, you can hear the ion storm all around you as you travel down. Okay. So as you continue down, it takes you maybe 20 or 30 minutes of descent and docking to finally reach it. The pilot radios back, informing you that you have been given clearance to land at the maximum security stasis facility, and that some sort of group is waiting to meet you. Very interested group is waiting to meet you as you land, because your inspection was very last minute, and they're interested to see what brings you here. Okay. So after a while, you clear the cloud cover and descend to a very large, basically like a semi-fortress style thing on the planet. And you land in one of the large exterior docking bays. And it looks like this. And you guys can get out of the lighter. And there's 2 planetary enforcers waiting right there. And yeah, this guy's name.
I microbeads the team and say that perhaps we ought to just say that there was an incident at another such facility that they've sent us to inspect this one to make sure that another incident doesn't happen here as well, and that we can't give them more details than that, but there was an incident, and so this is an emergency inspection to make sure the same doesn't occur here. That's all I got.
That's a good plan. The only other thing I could think is to say we're testing their procedure for putting people into stasis to see if it goes
You
with
really
the
just
normal
want to cage me
guidelines.
up, don't you?
Whatever happens, I will help with the power of the war.
Okay, so after you guys get out, and after less than like a minute or two, a rather large contingent of what appears to be planetary enforcers, arbiters, and a very much more senior arbiter comes out of the facility in front of you and approaches your group as these 2 guys guard the door. And they walk up to here, spread out a bit. And the man who you were given in the picked capture as Victor Corbella approaches you and puts out his hand and says, "Welcome, esteemed guests from the Adepta. Yeah, basically the Adepta. What can I do for you? And please present your papers of passage, as this is a very secure facility, and I'm sure you understand."
I present the papers or the data slate, and
Yep. So he walks up and takes the data slate. These guys will walk like to here. You do note that the arbitrator troopers and himself are much better armed than the planetary enforcers. Okay, so he takes the data slate and starts looking over it, scans it for a few minutes, runs it through his fingers, checks every little detail quite meticulously, and says, well, actually, let me just check first. Okay, so he looks over it. He spends quite a while looking over it in almost laborious detail that no one besides someone who's looking for faults or is as tedious and bureaucratic as an adept would bother looking into such minuscule detail kind of thing. And he says, everything seems to be mostly in order, though I will have to admit this was a rather hastily scheduled inspection. Generally, is it not true that the Adeptus schedules their inspections several years in advance, centuries at a time sometimes? I believe our next scheduled one was not for 30 standard Terran years. Is that not correct? And he hands it back to you. The data slate back to you.
I avoid the question completely. I just explained that there has been various incidents in other facilities like this, and we need to inspect them right away.
If I can, this is where I'll cast suggestion on him.
Yeah, you can cast suggestion on him, or try to, yes.
Oh crap, that was 21. I have 21, sorry.
And roll initiative.
Oh yeah. Oh. Then willpower.
Opposed willpower? Okay.
Yeah. Wait, what does the psi focus do? I'm not actually totally sure.
I think it just gives you bonuses. Let me check.
I'll double check. And... Oh, plus an invocation test.
Yeah, just an invocation.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so he actually beats you.
I will re-roll my willpower.
Okay.
Does he still beat me?
Nope. So, yeah, you can give him a suggestion.
That we are 100. That he should believe everything that what's your character's name, George? Sorry. Is it Victus?
Victus.
Yeah, that he should believe everything Victus is saying is true.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is, let me see.
Give a bonus to all social tests.
It says in the book that
You're
it
going
gives,
to roll deceive, and gain a plus 20 to it. Okay.
Okay.
And he's going to roll scrutiny against you. Okay, so he is going to see through your thing unless you fate point and reroll. So do you want a fate point?
Yes, fating.
Ooh, nice, much better.
That's better.
Okay, so he looks over you all for a minute. You can see he's like trying to scrutinize and realize, and he says, "Ah, yes, there have been several incidents indeed, and in fact, several. You may have heard quite recently there was an incident at Trade House Colony, not far from here. A hidden group of shadowed individuals seems to have infiltrated and caused a number of fights. We believe that it may have occurred from a trade dispute with another rival house, but we are looking into the inquiry, and Judge Macaris has not yet arrived to complete his inquiry with the captives held at this facility. Thus, we must wait. It may take several years before the inquiry comes to fruition. However, you are indeed true. There have been many strange passings of late in Imperial facilities, so I can understand why the Administratum would want to survey the building to make sure. Very well, please follow me. And he starts walking. And he's flanked by his troops, which I'm going to have to put beside him. These guys will stay and guard your lighter.
I do a Cypher Gloria. Good job to Mordecai.
I agree.
Okay. So he leads you up this way. Yeah. This way. He continues walking. And he stops here and says, "This is holding stasis facility, Alpha Theta. Currently, right now, it only houses 4 particular individuals. These individuals have been deemed of paramount importance to the arbiters of this sector, and they're wanted for not only treason, but believed to be several degrees of heresy. If they are found guilty of this, they will of course be passed on to the Inquisition, but right now they are under our jurisdiction. The Inquisition, I have no need to tell you," and he sort of laughs, believes they can overextend their hand and their reach several times, and they are attempting to gain access to these individuals before due process has been done. But the law is the only thing that matters. What does he say again? We determine the guilty, we decide the punishment. That is, of course, the code of the Lex Imperialis, which we uphold. Once due justice has been done to these individuals, if they are convened of heresy, they will be handed to the Inquisition, and not before. I'm sure you, as members of the Adeptus Administratum, have had to deal with the Inquisition more than once yourselves. He's sort of making small talk. Then he continues on.
Quick question, Warren. Can I
Yep.
cast Sense Presence?
Yep, sure.
So that's a 50-meter range, and I'm going to sustain it.
Okay, and what's it do exactly?
Actually, for every 5 point, it's this.
Yeah, we could just think.
Yeah, I'll just post it in Roll20. There you go. Oh shit.
You only detect all living creatures in the area walls in excess of 1 meter thick. Block this power of bleed for every 10 points. You see the threshold. Okay, what's the threshold? Sorry?
7. So that is an extra 20 meters.
Yeah. Okay.
So 70.
All right. Okay, so you detect there's a great number of Arbitas and stuff around in this area, like maybe a couple dozen.
Yeah.
Things like that. So he just starts leading you through the facility.
Give us a shout when I detect one individual in a room by himself that I would assume is like a holding cell.
Well, it says walls in excess of 1 meter thick, and many of the walls here are far in excess of 1 meter thick. So
Okay. All right.
Yeah. All right. So he leads you this way. You see various planetary enforcers on patrol.
I whisper into my microbreed that there's about a dozen arbitraries around the place.
So he leads you through various security checkpoints. You see scanners all over the place activating as you pass and taking records of your pictures and things like that. Some of them, various doors only open when he passes by, and it just says, chastiser rank recognized, and things like that, or trooper rank recognized, and it opens for them. Then he takes you this way. Sorry. Well, actually, before he goes there, he points down this corridor here and says that leads to the holding facilities. Currently, most of them are not in use. Only one of the immediate primary ones for stasis are currently active. But that is a high security area and is not to be opened under any circumstances. So he just leads you in there to give you a brief overlook. You can see there's a very heavy-duty adamantine door blocking what appears to be a cell of some kind. Looking inside the reinforced plasteel window, you can see what appears to be 4 stasis chambers of some kind, which I guess I'll show to you. So if you look in through the window, you can see, you can go right up if you want to and look through the window. Okay, here. So you see 4 stasis cryo chambers, and that's probably where the guys you want are. And he says, if you'll continue with me, we'll continue the inspection. And then he turns to you and says, who is the Adepta cleric among you who will need to look at the security files and maintenance reports?
I proceed forward.
Alright, he says, please follow me, we'll head to the adjoining room. And they head this way. Okay. And he leads you into this small facility over here. And he says, if you will take a seat here, I will send our cleric to deal with you and give you the various parchments and files you need to conduct your investigation. I would ask that you remain here for the remainder of your visit, unless you need to specify that you need to visit a particular part of the facility. Otherwise, my men will stay here to maintain order. And with that, he nods to one of the troopers who stays here and says, this is, what's his name? This is Martius. He's one of my troopers. Should you need or require anything, he would be happy to facilitate you in any way. Please do not leave this room. Otherwise, I cannot vouch for your safety once outside of once it's out of the walls of this room without myself and Tao. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have various reports to file and other investigations to proceed with. Good day, Adepts, and he bows quite low and then walks off. And these guys leave as well.
I cancel Sense Presence. And then
Okay.
I cast I cast Suggestion on the guy who's left.
Mm-hmm.
It works, and I shoot willpower.
Yep, positive willpower. Okay, works.
I suggest to him that we are free to roam the facility. Or is that too?
That's a serious request, so he'll probably get a bonus to that. So let me just check. Yeah, you still can influence him to a degree. So he looks you over sternly and says, "Yes, I was told that you were able to explore the facility so long as I was in tow. I believe the the Chastener will not object if I am to escort you."
Okay.
Okay, so he's only going to take Zarkov, for the record, because he's the one who suggested him.
Fuck. I guess I communicate with the party, ask, is there any other place in the facility you would like me to perceive? To perceive.
By the way, a few minutes later, 3 or 4 adepts enter the room and dump a shitload of bureaucratic tape straight on top of you. Like, literally, boxes that fill this entire thing are slowly brought in, and they're full of parchments, data slates, details from things going back centuries, and they're like literally just put straight on top of, this table here. And they ask you, where should you begin? Or where should they begin assisting you?
From latest to what? From like the latest state to back, and I'm trying to find like flaws in their system so I can. While Markov is with the arbitrator, I want to try and find flaws in their system so I can like scold them.
Okay, well, you see, the thing is, Zarkov looks the part because he's wearing robes and stuff, and it's not uncommon for psychers to serve the Administratum. You look quite the part because clerics kind of fit in the Adeptus. The rest of these are like, the tech guy could be presumed to be here for tech requirements. Everyone else just looks like guards. Like, Gabriel, Mira, and Flo are way too non-inconspicuous to be anything but guards or bodyguards, if you know what I mean. So,
and I treat them like guards. They are like, if anyone asks, they are our team, our adept.
Your guards.
Yeah.
So they presume you're like the head adept, and they presume that it's Ficus, or what is it?
Yeah, Ficus.
Yeah, Ficus is like here as a representative of the Mechanicus to oversee like the machines of the place basically, and review their maintenance and things like that. So they lump down all the bureaucratic shit here, and they lump down all the technical shit over here, and they basically just get to work like doing what you say basically. All right, so I'll give you everyone vision of Markov for now, I guess, so that you guys can see what he's doing.
All right. How would I like?
Should all have vision. So he just starts leading you out of the room.
All right.
Brings you here.
I guess he has to hold my hand, considering my character is blind.
Oh, your character's actually blind?
Yeah. I made my character blind, guys. Just saying.
Pin off all vision from his character now.
Yeah, like, would they have vision, like...
Yeah, I'm just giving them vision for the purposes of the stream, really.
Okay.
Nothing else.
Cheers.
Right,
okay. Yeah, so he just, like, walks you out, like, holding you by the arm and says, where can I take you to, my lord?
The status chambers, I guess. Let's go there.
He just sort of looks at you quizzically for a moment as if he's shrugging off the suggestion for a moment, and he says, "Stasis chambers, my lord? Why do you wish to see them?"
When we was over there, I believe I may have there may have been a thought I saw or sensed, I guess.
He looks at you quizzically for a moment and says, "Very well, I shall not doubt your sight." And then he just sort of looks at you for a minute and walks this way. Go
I
ahead,
was
Ian.
more talking about like the warp sense, like.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, cool.
Should I take the other guard that's outside the door somewhere else to maybe allow the people in this room to walk around freely? So I could ask to see some of the mechanical workings.
You could possibly do that. We'll zoom to you now because you're kind of splitting the party up. So what do you want to do?
I don't know. I'm asking that to the rest of the party.
I'd like for Seekers, for like what I want to do is like buy enough time for me, like going through the files, then Seekers going to investigate the, like ask to see the machine spirits of the stasis chambers, and then so he can study a way to remove them to our, like to find any excuse to.
You want an excuse to move the maximum security prisoners in their prison.
Yeah, like
That's gonna be a very big fucking excuse.
yeah, like these things are going to explode right now, blah blah blah, something like that. I don't know. We need to explore more at the moment.
Okay. Well, if that's stuff to do with that room, there's no point in me going now because Mordecai's already gone like over there to kind of start doing things in that kind of vein. So I'll just do nothing for the moment while waiting.
I guess I'd tell the person I'm with, the guard, saying, is there any wards in the status chamber? Because if so, I must inspect them because they might be failing.
He looks at you quizzically for a moment and says, "Wards, my lord? I'm not quite sure what you mean."
I try and give him like just a rundown of like psychic wards and like how the psychics can attack these wards and so on. But like basically trying to tell him about them, but not give anything away. If you know what I mean.
Kind of.
Like be very vague about what wards are, and yet try and get the sense off that like only I would know, only I could inspect them.
Okay, so like anyone going into that room is like the maximum thing in his back of his mind as like close to suicidal because he's been point blank, told multiple times, and he's an Arbitas, he's not a planetary enforcer, so he knows what he's doing. He just sort of looks at you and says, "No one is allowed in that room, my lord. It is forbidden. Not without sanction from the hierarch."
Alright. Okay, I say, take me back to my group, please. And
Alright,
head back there.
Yeah, he just guides you back.
Alright. Cool. And then I tell the party that there's no way we would get in there by simple trickery, I think, unless we were to remove the guards. I could possibly try and confuse them into thinking there is a problem out in the landing bay or something like that, so they will be gone for a
Dude
moment.
is literally standing right here, just saying.
Yeah, I'm using micro beads, so...
Okay.
Basically, misdirection is probably our best case here. That's what I'm thinking. That's why I was confused why you took the one guy that was guarding us to the room we were trying to go to. If we could bring as many people away from there as possible, and then everyone else deal with, getting people out of the stasis room. We should make some form of distraction, basically, is what I think's best.
Yeah. I go over to the trooper and say, is it okay for Mira here to inspect the guard's positioning? She is very well trained in defensive combat and needs to inspect if this place was attacked, that you have all the right equipment and tactical knowledge.
Yet again, this is something that is quite critical information, so he's going to like outright say no unless you suggest him in some way, or he will go get Victor Corbella again.
Yeah. All right. Never mind. Okay. After he says no, I just walk away for a second. And I have to be right back, so yeah.
Okay. Anyone else
Also-
want to do anything?
I was just saying this to the party, like the security person downstairs, or where we came from. We might be able to get Deefy, if it's mechanical locks, he might be able to see what he can do there, and after a while make them open or something, to cause a distraction down there.
So me go back to the place we entered through and set off some alarms.
But there was the other prison down here.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, you're presuming there's a prison down there.
Didn't you say there were 4 holding cells that were used?
There are 4 prisoners, and you saw 4 stasis chambers, so...
So it could be that the 4 we are looking for might be down there.
But has are we basically not
You're
going to be
actually
able...
you're in an interrogation chamber right now, for the record. This is where they like interrogate people, but they're giving it to you as like a temporary office for your like thing, basically.
But basically, we're not going to be able to really get out of this room without Mordecai suggesting, like, psychically pushing that we have to leave this room for some reason.
Well, the guy specified no one was to leave the room unless he was informed about it.
Okay.
He only even let you out the first time is because he got mine suggestions
Yeah,
to do it.
yeah. Victus, perhaps after you've looked through this paperwork more, we could say that we need to be shown an area where you found some form of weakness, and at that time is when I should set off some form of confusion, and you would be able to search these cells for the people we have been sent to collect.
Do I find any paperwork that I could use as a basis to deceive that weakness?
That's going to be actually interesting. Let me just check some stuff out.
Like, this room has ants. We need to inspect this.
I mean, you were given a big load of paperwork, were you not?
Do an inquiry test to look through the paperwork to try and find some discrepancy you could exploit to attempt to come up with a reason to leave the room.
Damn it. What the hell? I'm going to re-roll that.
Okay.
I have literacy, can I aid him?
Okay, so you find no glaring discrepancy, really. It seems that the Chastener and his team of adepts keeps a tight ship, and they seem to be very efficient at what they do.
Can Ficus do the same test on his tech part?
Yeah, he could do a tech use test to try and determine... Well, let me just see real quick.
I've got plus 10 on my tech use now, so it might help.
Yeah, just do tech use.
Oh, when I...
Actually, no, common lore tech is what it would be, because you have common lore tech. Yeah.
No bonuses or anything for anyone else?
Well, I don't think anyone else has common lore tech, so...
Okay. Beautiful.
Trying to reroll?
Yeah, let me spend a fate point and reroll. Crushing these rolls today.
So, looking through the sheet, you find very little to give you any sort of indication that, something might be undue here. The only thing that really jumps out of your mind as being even a slightest scrape of information that could give you some details is overlooking various logs of the Genitorium output. You can see that the power fluctuates at various times, and while this might not be critical in most cases, fluctuations in a stasis containment facility like this could lead to the death of those in stasis if improperly managed. Although it's well within limits, like far within limits, to the point that no one except the most, anal of adepts would even care about it. And that's saying a lot because a lot of the mechanicus is very stringent and particular about things. But you'd have to be to the level of like almost insanity to even care about this. Like it fluctuates minorly. It's well within safety limits, but you could use it as a very minor excuse to go and look at the Genitorium, perhaps.
I think this would be a good plan. I tell the rest of the group about it and say we could bring most of the guards away, or at least a few of the guards with us, or at least with me, to get them to see this area, and then make some form of distraction, so you guys will be able to check out the rooms in this area to find the people. It might take away a few of the guards.
So me and Ficus get the paperwork and proceed to show to the trooper. Is this a deceive or a charm?
Is this a what, sorry?
Getting the papers and showing to the troopers, saying that we need to see the Genitorium.
The Genitorium.
Yeah.
Alright, so he holds his hand up for a moment and says, I can't do that without going through Chastaner or Corbella. You will have to wait a moment before I contact them, though.
Is Ollie back?
I don't know.
I asked.
Do you want me to just roll for him while he's gone? I can do that if you want.
I don't know. I think it'd probably be best, maybe.
Okay, so I'll do a suggestion from him then. Wow, he has a lot of spells.
Yeah, it's 2d10 plus.
Yeah, he has it anyway. So.
Yeah.
His star rating is 2. Yeah. Yep, so it goes off, and do an opposed willpower.
Yeah, opposing willpower.
Yeah. Yep, he succeeds, so with a quick grip or grasp on the trooper's mind, Zarkov once again influences him, and the man just sort of shrugs for a moment and says, though I don't particularly want to bother the Chastaner while he's busy with the mountain of paperwork and the investigations he's currently proceeding with, so I suppose I could take you to the Genitorium without much difficulty. It's not far, please follow me.
Should we all go, theoretically?
Well, you only mentioned 2.
Okay,
so
never mind. No,
you have to be very specific about what you say in situations like this.
Okay.